Yes.
Okay,
All
great.
right. Okay. So here we are again on the Java Europe tour, and I hope you guys are hearing us fine. I'm here with my good friend Sven. I'll introduce him in a minute. Just want to see if you guys are hearing us fine, if everything's okay. We are in this beautiful area here, Bodenskreiser.
Bodenseekreis.
Bodenskreis. Yes, this crazy German names. So I can see Max, Kevin. Can you guys hear us fine? And hopefully. And I think that's well. No one is saying anything. So hopefully everything's fine. And this time I think we got the microphone up and running. I can see the little dots here blinking and everything. And I'd like to welcome you, all of you, to this discussion here around Java and career. And we're going to talk about career, right?
Yeah, we should talk about career.
Yes. So Java and career. Yes, everything's fine. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Max. And we're going to talk about career. We're going to talk about Java. We're going to talk about desktop and NetBeans and Duke's Choice Award. We have so many things to talk about. So thanks everyone much for us to join us here. One thing I would like to ask you is that the whole purpose here on this trip is that we can come and meet those amazing people, Java champions, Java rock stars, people that have won Duke's Choice Award. It's kind of like the Oscar of the Java technology. And, we got a chance for you to talk with them, right? So get your questions ready, shoot them as fast as you can, because we're going to try to get those guys busy all the time, right? And we also have here Otavio Santana. Say hello, Otavio.
Hello.
And behind the camera here, we have Edson Yanaga. He's joining us for the tour. We're going to have an interview with him probably later today. Say hello, Edson.
Hello.
So, and also we have this bunch of birds around us. So say hello, birds. Oh, come on. They become quiet in the moment you guys. All right. Okay. So I'd like to introduce here my good friend is Sven Reimers. So hi, Sven. Thanks a lot for receiving us here in your house in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful countryside with lots of horses and man, flowers and amazing place. That's you live in a wonderful place here.
Yeah, I do. I really like it. So yeah,
All
I
right.
just moved here recently. So yeah,
Okay.
it's quite an improvement.
That's very cool. So Sven, you work with Java inside Airbus. I'm not sure if we're allowed to talk anything about Airbus, but you talk whatever you think we're allowed. And you're doing one of those things that's a lot of people kind of consider that's not the mainstream programming paradigm. You're doing desktop applications,
Yes.
right? And you're doing desktop applications with Java. You won a Duke's Choice Award with the desktop application of Java.
Yes. A couple of years back. Yeah.
Right. How does it feel like when you're doing very, very innovative work and most people look at you and say, but who does desktop those days, right? Is that a question you get often?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the major thing is people just see the web. They are just customers, like in millions of people using websites and web apps and whatever.
Mhm.
And okay, but there's another market. So this market is like you're behind closed doors. You need rich graphics. You need complex applications, and you control the deployment chain. So there's no real problem in I have to deploy an application. So you just do it.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the big applications behind those industry engineering people are still a rich client. And I think we are we're not so small community,
Mhm.
but we don't have the millions of customers.
Right.
But that's enough to make it fun.
Well, we do have the income tax application in Brazil. This is a desktop application, and this year was used by I think something around 15 million people.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's some of them do get it.
Yeah.
do
okay.
get in the meetings.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that desktop applications are very interesting because we use desktop applications all the time, right?
Yes.
We prefer desktop applications in a lot of ways and a lot of things that we do. But of course, it's harder to get everyone, millions of people to actually
Did
use
you ever try
applications.
a online IDE, web-based IDE stuff?
Yeah, see, that's really there are some, right? But they're rare.
Yeah, there are. So
Yeah.
I think there are new things coming up, like for cloud things.
Uh-huh.
But I still like my fat client.
Right. Yeah. So fat clients is still But now, is Java a good language for fat client?
Absolutely. Why not?
Well, I'm asking you. You're doing it.
So I've been doing a Swing development like for the last 15 years,
Hmm.
major part of 15 years. And I just recently moved to another project. I'm doing more EE stuff, but still we need to have some client technologies, so you have to visualize your information.
Right.
And for some things, probably web is just not good enough. It's not the pick you would take. So you're looking back into rich client technologies, and you're still seeing Swing, but you're now seeing a JavaFX coming along quite nice. So I think community is growing, and adoption is growing.
Right.
We're seeing projects behind the scenes written in JavaFX. So I think it's picking up speed, but it's the same problem with rich client and per se. The typical end user does not see it.
Right.
So besides your how many million tax income application will be rewritten using JavaFX?
15 million
so,
people, yes.
Yeah, so then 15 million people would know what JavaFX looks like.
Right.
So,
Okay.
And so I think it's a good thing, and it even scales to smaller devices. So Elon Voss with Gluon HQ is doing a marvelous work by doing JavaFX on smaller devices. So you can use the same technology for different things like desktop or tablet or.
Right.
Yeah, it works quite well.
Yeah, so it's interesting that on this tour we've been talking with a lot of Java champions, and you know we've met Hendrik in Dortmund, and he was doing some work with JavaFX. He actually had some interesting demonstrations to show us, and also you know, this past Saturday we had Andres and Ixchel in Basel, Switzerland. And they were also talking a little bit about rich clients and JavaFX and things like that. So actually, it's first of all, it's really nice that they were able to travel around and see so many people from different places. And one interesting thing, you're just watching us. Where are you from, right? Because I see Abidunor showed up also here. Kevin, Max. You know, I think Kevin is from California because he was with us the other day, if I remember correctly. So if you want to tell us where you're from, we're trying to get this conversation going around all around the world, and it's really nice that you know, from a career perspective, right? You've done lots of cool things with Java, and well, okay. Before I talk about career, you got a Duke's Choice Award, right? Yes. Can you tell us what your Duke's Choice Award was for? And so we can talk a little bit about it. Can you explain the project?
So it was a project for managing a satellite communication network, and it was about having a user experience that was completely integrated from starting off planning, how your network might operate, like bandwidth distribution, whatever, up to the point where you go to the control part, where you really look at the different ground stations that are transmitting the signal, receiving signals. And even doing measuring of the signal, so the complete spectrum. And it was from parts that were more database centric to parts that were really processing specific, like data and signal analysis, where we had a mixture of already available hardware and low-level drivers that we just picked up and used using JNI, for example.
Right.
So it was all across the board. We used from XML things, using Swing. We were using RMI back then. We were using JDBC. So complete technology stack. So offers probably we just like ticked off everything on the list.
Okay.
Just one by one. And so it was a quite big thing. And I think we showcased it to I think Aaron Houston back then. Said, yeah, you have to submit this.
Right.
So it was a big application. Whatever. So just do what I'm doing for my daily. So that's something special. And so we submitted it, and we won. So that was a really nice thing.
Yeah, because it's a really impressive.
That was when I met you.
Yeah, that's when you met me, right?
Yeah.
That's what was really impressive application. That you were already part of the NetBeans Dream Team by that time, right?
Yes, by that time I was already part of the Dream Team.
So not only you're doing your day job, doing all this very complex network aware, talking to all kinds of different devices, desktop application, but you're also developing NetBeans, the IDE, right? You're one of the community members that helped advance NetBeans.
Yeah. I was using it I think like NetBeans like 20, I think something like that. 20 years NetBeans.
20
yeah,
years?
probably,
Oh
yeah.
man, is NetBeans that old already? I think so.
19,
Yes.
19 maybe, 19, maybe 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like very early on, and I always liked it very much, the concepts and the experience with it, and I started picking up developing things for NetBeans maybe 15 years ago.
Oh man, that's a long time.
Yeah, maybe 14. So something like that. So
Right.
more than 10 years ago, and it was all about we had the company I was working for was just looking into how to build a better academy for software engineering. So what shall we teach the people? And we figured out one thing was you have to write good code.
Okay.
So it was back when Find Bugs was the new tool. So there was a nice plugin for Eclipse.
Okay.
Because Eclipse was the IBM development tool chain, and so it was already available.
Right.
I said, no, I don't want to pick my IDE because of the availability of a plugin. So I started writing a plugin for Find Bugs for NetBeans. So that's where it all started, with community. And
right. That's so cool. That's so cool. Actually, the people here saying, so Abdenor say that he's from Algeria, but he lives in Munich right now. So Abdenor, we're gonna be with you tomorrow, right? Tomorrow there's gonna be the Java Group Munich that we're gonna be there with you tomorrow. So if you can show up. Andy says he's from Ukraine. Kevin is from Dortmund, and I said he was from California. It's kind of. I think sorry, Kevin. I'm like
maybe there's a Dortmund in California as well.
Yeah, maybe there's a Dortmund in California, right? So and Abdenor said he was 4 years ago. He used a Java and Swing for the airline industry, flight management system, working with Amadeus in London, right? Like 4 years ago. So that's pretty cool. So actually, it's interesting. So he was doing Swing on the airline industry. You guys are doing Swing on the airline industry. Is there a connection between, like, in the airline industry, for example? Do you guys talk with each other a lot about development? And do you share technology in some ways? In a way, you are sharing because you're all using Swing that's open source. So you can all the improvements kind of end up back.
I think there's no special community for that. So it's just like you go somewhere, you meet people, and you start to interconnect. Right. And that's the way it works on. So
but you guys use a whole lot of, you said NetBeans. You also use Swing that's open source, but you said JavaFX. You guys use a whole lot of open source technology, don't you?
Yeah, we do. So
you're already part of this big community.
Yes, we are part of the community by using it and by trying to give feedback and advancing technology, and
And you do contribute back, right? Because you're one of the main contributors of NetBeans, right? With plugins and everything, right?
Well, main contributors were like probably too big, but yeah. So I'm trying to push it along.
Oh, come on, you're NetBeans dream team, right? Isn't this isn't this the guys that actually are the main?
So we are still building. A colleague of mine, we're still building the software quality environment. It's a couple of plugins for NetBeans, providing a Findbugs integration beyond the Findbugs integration that NetBeans meanwhile has gathered. And I am trying to get this working with Gradle and all the other integration stuff with this. So yeah, so it was still active that way, but main contributor, yeah, maybe in a way. So more evangelizing it on a community basis and going to conferences and showing what cool NetBeans stuff there is out there.
Okay, very, very cool. And a lot of times when people talk about open source, they kind of think like, oh, should I use open source in my company? Should I not use open source in my company? Does Airbus have like an open source policy, or you guys you developers just free to use whatever you think it's important? How does that work inside your company?
So there is a policy, and the major thing is you go out looking for what you want to use. You figure out your use case. Okay, I want to try this, and then you go to go through a process for saying, okay, it's this license and that's the code base, and then people come back to you and say, yeah, that's fine, do it, and we'll be added to a catalog of already approved things. So I think it's from a perspective of real doing the process. It's still young, feels still young, but it's there, it works.
Right.
So and I think it's a good way because you get a confidence in that you're doing the things in the right way. You're just not picking a license that might be bad for your company. So there's no way to do this inside a big corporation. So
right,
yeah, so that's good. So they are
Yeah,
adopting to this thinking and saying, yeah, we have to embrace open source.
right. It's very nice because really, in a lot of ways, open source, when you're choosing like a proprietary software, you have to go through the same process anyway, right? You know, you have to select a software. You have to see, but the main difference is that when you select an open source project, as you said, you select it, you start using it, you experiment, you see if it's valid, and then you go through the internal process. Usually when you do proprietary software, you have to do the other way around, right? You first go through the internal process, you acquire it, and then you figure out if it works or not for you, right? Yeah. So open source is much better for the company when you actually decided to use it, is because you already know that it's going to work for you.
Yeah, it's typically it's better to choose the open source version if you can. So if there's if you get a company who's just like providing support for it, so you go open source and buy the support for the product.
Right. So now let's get specifically into Java. So Java is open source, right? So it has a little bit of this appeal right now. But when you start using Java, Java was not open source yet. So what was the main reason why you as a developer and the company itself in general, what was the main reason for you to start using Java to begin with?
So I started my using Java because I inherited a kind of at the university I inherited an ugly mess of C and C++ code with a lot of defines for running on different platforms, like a Solaris, Linux, BSD variants, SEO Linux. So that was a mess.
Right.
So then I figured out there's this new thing, and you just write it once and it runs everywhere, and you don't have any defines. It just works.
Right.
That's when it was a brilliant idea to all my problems. Right. Solution for everything I had. So that was when I started. And when I started my job down here, people are using Java.
Okay.
So there was no evangelism needed to convince them it's a good idea. So somehow they came up with the idea. So to write client software in Java was a good idea, and it was about 2000.
Right. And so although you don't have any evangelists, can you point out the main reasons why you guys stick to Java today?
It's the developer base. So you got a lot of developers really knowing what they're doing. I think it's still it gets your work done.
Right.
You don't have to you don't fight the language. You solve problems.
That's nice.
And,
yes.
I think that's business.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't want to spend money on fighting.
Right. So how about the new things of Java? Things like Lambda and
great.
So you guys are using already?
Yes. So we're all on the road with 8, and we're waiting for 9.
Okay.
To get the modularity story in. So absolutely.
So do you think the fact that you're using desktop applications does this help or hinders you to use the new version of the technology? Or it doesn't matter. You're just using the new version. And that's it.
I think it's we have just to convince the customer. If you are for the old application, you have to convince the customer it's a good idea to do the upgrade.
Right.
Because then you do the upgrade and that's done. So when you say, okay, look, the old version is long gone. The new version, it gives you better performance. We migrate to 60 for a bit. So just let go we take the 8 version as well, and then from a customer perspective, it's you have to find the sweet selling point, And generally, it's often way more easy to do this because you could say, okay, look, we are reducing this code like a factor of 10, and maintainability gets better, performance gets better, and you just do nothing for it.
Nice.
So, and I think that's the internal story, and then you have to convince the customer why he should get the free upgrade.
Right. So that's a very interesting thing about Java, right? Because of the backwards compatibility, you just the VM improves and your application improves together without you needing to do anything special.
Backward compatibility is key.
Right.
It's key for this process, definitely. So if you would break anything binary backward compatible, That's not a good idea.
Okay,
so you just
cool.
drop in old libraries in new code. That's just amazing work people are doing over there. So
All right.
big shout out to Brian Guts and his team.
Yes, I totally agree. That's actually Michael in Frankfurt also talked a lot about backwards compatibility. That's sometimes something that we developers in Java land we take that for granted.
Yes.
But if you look around, it's not a common feature in every development language out there.
Yeah. Ever switched to a newer compiler in C++?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hendrik shows up.
Hendrik.
He says greetings from Dortmund. So he's right there actually. So thanks Hendrik for showing up. So Hendrik, let me tell you one thing. You started a trend, right? Because you made a barbecue for us when we were in your house, and now Sven has just made us a big barbecue when we got here. So that's great. Thanks a lot. That was a really neat idea. So there's a question from Abinay, and so Andres shows up talking. He's saying that he loves IntelliJ. I'm gonna skip the Abinay's question right now because he talks about career. We're gonna get back to him. But Kevin says, what are your opinions about IntelliJ? Right? And Andres say he loves IntelliJ, and Otavio Santana says +1. Right? So I think the both of us here in the minority on this small group here. So have you used IntelliJ or other IDEs?
IntelliJ now gives away free licenses for Java Champions.
Right.
So that's nice. So that's finally got me to, I try it.
Right.
Since Java Champions already got a free license for NetBeans like forever.
Right. Yeah. So that's a little secret, guys. I'm not sure if you guys know, but you got to be a Java champion to get some proprietary software license sometimes. But anyone that's watching us right now, you have a perpetual free license for NetBeans and all open source things, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good.
Okay.
That's a really good thing. Yes.
So I tried it out, and I think there were some things I would like to have in NetBeans, and I already talked to people about this. Sure. Okay.
Yes.
And but I think I really had to, get some of the ideas how IntelliJ is working into my head. So I think I like the workflow in NetBeans way more, and the out of the box experience still way more. But I have to admit, the groovy code completion in IntelliJ, that's awesome.
Okay.
So we have to improve for NetBeans.
Right.
So let's see what we can do.
Okay.
That's nice. Always nice.
Yes, I think one of the greatest thing that we have in Java is the multi-IDE environment, right? Because some technologies you have one IDE, right? And sometimes it's just provided by one particular company, and that's all you get, right? And in the Java land, we actually have all kinds of different IDEs and editors and helper tools and plugins and everything. So you can customize your environment. Not only you can customize the things, but there is a competition between those guys, right?
Yeah. So it's
I think IntelliJ is a great tool, especially by the way, it's one of the very few that still survive on the commercial market of tools, right?
Yes.
So I mean, those guys are doing a great job. And it's really good that they improve one side, and then the NetBeans Eclipse improve the other side, so they got to improve again. So we developers, I mean, if you compare Java IDEs to some other languages, what we can do in our IDEs is amazing. That's
So the amazing things like the start queue look and feel from IntelliJ, it's like awesome.
Right.
So I think finally there's a version for NetBeans as well.
Okay.
So, really, it's like attractive for developers to have second style that way.
Right.
So,
cool.
But
okay, so Andres say groovy man, and then Andrew says, I know only one Andres which likes groovy and Gradle so much. Okay, so I think we know who that guy is, right?
Okay. Yes.
So actually, Andres received us. He and his wife Ixchel received us very, very nice in Basel on Saturday, and we had some time to drive around to walk around the city. It was just amazing. So thanks, Andres. It was really, really good. So Kevin says, yes, Darkula team is cool. NetBeans needed this, right? Cool. Okay, so let's get back to some of the so Abin Hay here has a question about career. So let's dwell a little bit on career, because one of the themes that we have on this tour here is that we want to help developers improve their careers.
Yeah.
And it's when you want to improve your career, it's not only about code, right? It's about that's why we talk about Code4Life, right? Because code is the main thing that we do. but just by living where you are here right now in this amazing place, you have much better life, right? And being a developer allows you to be here, right? So it's like this kind of mixed code in life. But Albinay has a specific question about Korea. He says, what kind of opportunity does desktop technology provide for a developer today? Do you see any? Oh man, you look like no opportunity.
No, probably. I think that there is a lot, but I think they're not so visible. So it's the big engineering companies, banks, who are still doing a lot of in-house or contract development for rich client applications, and you just have to figure out the right engineering company or the right contracting company. So I think companies like Canoe, they're doing a lot of rich client stuff, and they're really good at it. And so just look out for it.
Right.
So I think it's out there. It's not so visible like all those web. We're doing HTML5. Oh no, you have to write JavaScript companies.
Right. Yeah. So one interesting thing that I've noticed lately is that so when you talk about rich clients, in a way, the smartphones, right? They are rich clients. Well, by the way, the smartphones are way more powerful than the first computers that start running Java, right? So I mean,
absolutely.
So you could run some of the previous version of Java. Actually, you can run today's version of Java in any of those smartphones.
I
No
saw
problem.
someone who booted a Windows 95 on his iWatch.
Right. Okay. All right. So Windows. All right. So you can really do very sophisticated desktop application on those small devices. And now, once you have that, I've been noticing that a lot of applications are now, the application is on the device, and now there is a rich client application on the desktop. As a companion application, right? So I use this small utility called Simple Note that you have clients for all the desktop operation systems, things like that. I mean, I don't know if they're reading Java or not, if they're benefiting from this, but the fact that now desktop is, I'm not sure desktop itself, but the whole notion of rich client is in a way picking up again because of the smartphone. Don't you think so?
I think just having a web front end or just packing like an HTML page into your application and you got a native app for your phone. No, it's not good enough anymore.
Not good enough anymore.
So
yes.
I think there are big companies who just tried this and, well, they failed miserably.
Right.
So when they went back and started coding native for all the different devices.
Okay.
So I think there's still an opportunity for a framework that can be run on all the devices and you can reuse their code very easily between the devices. So you don't have to write like .NET for Windows phones or whatever and Swift for iOS and something like, it feels like Java on Android.
Yeah, one interesting thing, right? When Java started, Java was like, had this idea of write once, run anywhere, and many years later, everyone is kind of saying, right? Yeah. Write once, run anywhere. You can. Oh, there is this .NET framework that you can develop for all kinds of phones. There is this other language that you can write for all kinds of phones. There's JavaFX you can write for all kinds of phones. There's even Docker, right? We were discussing, me and Edson were discussing earlier today, that Docker provides pretty much the same thing that Java provided in the past. That you package your application once, and then you can run in several cloud providers. And I think this is one of the main things that Java brought into our developer world, right? Because before Java, it was like you develop for one platform, and if you be really crazy, you develop on like very specific C that can be compiled to different platforms. It was crazy to do this, but now everyone's kind of asking for multi-platform things, right?
Nobody writes any assembler code into your code anymore.
Right.
So, if you,
I think the guys from the Java VM just still write a little
sometimes,
bit. Sometimes,
if they have to. But I think they don't like it anymore. So.
Okay, so Kevin says, I only had really bad experience with hybrid apps for mobile, like PhoneGap, Cordova, or Ionic. Yeah,
that's the story.
Right. Okay, so hybrid's not good.
Hybrid's not good enough. Yeah.
All right. So are you doing any mobile application at all? No, you're most desktop. Okay, not server side either. How about clouds? Do you think cloud is something that you should be looking at, or developers should be looking at?
So I think cloud is interesting. So it depends on your environment where you are. So, but if you're working on projects that are sitting behind closed doors, open clouds, well,
Mhm.
they just don't work out.
Right.
So you start building your own.
Yes.
So we are looking at deploying with Docker
Uh-huh.
and using all this nice new technologies, making our life easier.
Okay.
Sure. We're
Interesting.
lazy people.
Yes, we
We
are.
should
Yes, that's the good developers are lazy developers. Yes.
The best ones are.
Yes.
So yeah, so we're trying to look at these things and this. So what is the cloud? The cloud is just some computer not sitting next to you, running your software somewhere you can't see.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's the cloud, huh?
yeah, I think Larry Ellison would agree with you. Right? I mean, I think a lot of other people try to define the cloud much more than this,
Yes.
but you know.
Yeah. So if you got a business cases where you talk about scaling, for example,
Uh-huh.
then cloud is even more interesting. So
Mhm.
you can say, okay, if I need more computing power, I just get it like scaling for free.
Mhm.
So scaling for free, like in technology for free, not in
Right.
payment for free.
Yeah.
But if you're shipping your own like mini cloud system thing, scaling is not really that big thing. So you just know beforehand how many customers you have and how this all works out. So, but I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who benefit from the cloud idea, a lot.
Okay. Cool. So let me just kind of go back to the questions here. So we're talking about career, and it's really nice when you see how other developers handle bad situation or complex situation in their life. And Max has a great question here. He says, "Can you tell us about the hardest bug you had to track or fix? You know, can you remember like a real hard bug that you took you days to find, and customers were complaining and yelling at you and saying, come on, the airplane's gonna fall because of you. You're not fixing the bug. No, nothing like that.
Not that. So I think the hardest things are concurrency bugs.
Right.
Absolutely. So if you're not careful, and you have old code and that predates the good concurrency libraries in Java, and you have written your own stuff, and you missed out on something very specific, and now you're just moving your code to better performant machine. And so I remember a couple of years back, we had the we moved to new hardware and for a new project, and we asked for will it be multi-core. So there was one
Multi-core,
single
right,
core,
yes,
you still remember?
At some point, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And we were, no, that is not a problem. You don't need to test for multi-core. So we got single core machines still for this project.
Right.
So the first machine that arrived was multi-core. We put our software on it and crashed. Because in fact, so there was a bug in the reference handling. So it never occurred on a single core machine, but it failed like deterministically on the multi-core machine.
Right, but at least you got lucky, right? Because it failed immediately, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of the concurrency problems, they are intermittent. They show up in certain specific situations that you never can figure out what it is. Yes. Right.
Yeah. They are hard to catch.
Yeah, it's really hard to catch. Do you think?
You better you look, the more you change the runtime.
Right.
And the less they happen.
Right, exactly. Yes. So do you think that lambdas will help out in this? Because one of the main advantages of using lambda is helping out you write good concurrency code, right?
I think it helps getting Java developers in a functional mindset.
Right.
And that helps to write better code. So less concurrency failure will happen because of this. So,
okay.
I think .parallel in the Streams framework is not the only good thing. It will not help everything and be a solution for everything and be a silver bullet. But it's nice for simple things. It's definitely nice to handle. And if you need more complex and more other parallel things, there are nice under the libraries like Akka, whatever, that help. So I think try to use good existing concurrency hardened battle-proven systems, libraries that are out there, and don't try to write your own if you use this.
Yeah. Yes, so, exactly.
If you understand the Java memory model, okay, you can go do it, but make sure you've understood it.
Yeah, there's some very good open source frameworks that you can just use.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Albinay, since we're talking about Java and Java 8 and Lambdas, but Albinay goes one step forward. He says, how do you think modularity in Java 9 will change the face of desktop applications? will it affect at all the desktop applications, or modularity is more like a server side thing?
I think desktop applications already have a lot of modularity.
Mhm.
So there's a OSGI in Eclipse. There
Mhm.
is a NetBeans module system, and NetBeans and OSGI NetBeans
Mhm.
as well. And I think IntelliJ has something similar as well. So
Okay.
they already had, because of all those plugin structure things, they
Right.
already had the idea of modules and containment of things and definition of APIs. So I think they are quite well prepared. I think the challenge is to get this working together with the modularity concept that will
Right.
be inside the JDK 9. I think on the server side, it's not so different. I think if you're looking at a Glassfish, I think it's running on OSGI.
Mhm. Right.
So for Java, it's running on OSGI. You got the Wi-Fi, it's running, I think, some
I think
Red Hat module, OSGI variant thing. So there's
Okay.
a conception of modules as well, and
Right.
they're already. So everybody was from a user perspective was already going and looking into modules and plugins and
Mhm.
try to make the software more in components.
Mhm.
So I think the hard thing will be that suddenly a lot of APIs are just vanished behind the module curtain from the JDK. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
stay to the APIs that were the APIs from the beginning. So,
right.
sun, MISC, unsafe. So what else should you put in there to make clear? Do not use this stuff.
Oh, come on, man. We're all developers here, right?
Yes.
So when you name something, do not use
Yeah.
or unsafe or danger.
Don't press this button.
Don't press this button. What do developers do, right?
Yeah,
That's exactly
they
so.
use it, yeah.
So I think this name was a really good attraction for.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And there was a use case for it. So
There was
it's
a
okay
case,
that
yes.
people used it, and there's now a new API that makes it even better to handle those use cases. So that's
Right.
good.
So but in terms of modularity, I think the main discussion about modularity on Java 9 is that the VM itself will be modular, right? So it's
Yes.
not about modularizing your application. I mean, of course, it is also about modularizing your application, but the fact that all of these things that you talk about in OSGI or Eclipse or NetBeans modules, all of those are on application kind of level
Yes.
modularity. And what Java 9, what Jigsaw brings us is modularity on the level of the VM, right? So it should at least reduce the footprint of memory of some
Yes.
desktop applications.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
should
no,
help on the
yeah,
startup
yeah,
time,
yeah.
these kind of things, right?
Just imagine you don't need Cobra
Right.
in your desktop application.
Yes.
So if you don't need Cobra,
Yes. Yes.
you can get rid of it. That's
Right.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to use Swing anymore, you just go for JavaX. You can reduce the footprint as well.
Mhm.
But I think for real fat client, for real desktop applications, I think the VM size is not the big issue.
Not the big issue.
Startup time might be an issue.
Right.
If you just want to fire up the application and shut it down and fire up again, and
Mhm.
you don't want to wait for like a couple of seconds, but like more millisecond startup
Mhm.
time, smaller VMs will help
Right.
definitely because they don't load so many code.
Yeah.
That should be. But I think it's especially good for small devices. So if
Mhm.
you're talking about IoT,
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
that's a big
That's a big
thing, massive.
Okay. Right. So more questions here. So Andres, well, Kevin, keeping on the your hardest bug, right? So Kevin asks, did you ever had to perform a formal proof that your code was working as required? Back in university, one of my professors told us this is a usual practice in the airplane industry. I mean, do you actually write code for airplanes itself or no?
No. And I think I remember that I talked to people who wrote airplane systems
Mhm.
a couple of years back, and I think they still inherited other code.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that the flight control things are written in Java. The entertainment system typically is
Mhm. Right.
nowadays. So
Okay.
there are new things that are in Java
Uh-huh.
for airplanes as well. But I think there's still a legal clause in Java saying don't use this in aerospace, whatever
man.
things.
Is there? And you guys use it?
So I think the clause is about you shouldn't run it on systems where people's life is at risk or whatever.
Is that right? Okay.
I think there was a once in the license terms.
Okay.
On this. So
That's interesting.
So yeah. So there's Java on satellites. It's still raw Linux and So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so you
Never, I
never
never,
had to
no,
do a
no, I
formal
never
proof
had
or
to
anything?
no formal proof.
No formal proof.
No,
Okay.
no formal
'Cause
proof.
that must be
But
a
maybe
pain, right?
if he needs formal proof,
Yeah.
there are things like a how is it called, as a JVM language. It's a Haskell for the JVM. Frege,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
It's FREGE,
So
and
so
it's a kind of Haskell thing for the JVM. So
Okay.
maybe if he needs code that can prove it's correct,
right.
he has to take Scala. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
So actually, the guy that I know that's the master of the impossible projects is Edson right there. So Edson, have you ever had to do like a formal proof for some code that you wrote?
Yeah, just some toy projects.
Some
in
toy
the
projects.
Telecom industry.
Okay.
But by the time I used Z, which is a logic language for declaring things and assuring that everything is correct.
Okay. Yeah, you may need to speak a little bit
Domain-specific-
closer here, but yes. Okay.
Domain-specific languages that are used in that kind of industries that make sure you can't do things wrong.
Okay. All right.
That's
Okay. So yeah. So is it a pain to prove? Yes, it's a pain. So that's well, oh man, you guys should be looking at his face right now. He's like, oh no, that's really a pain. Okay. Now, Andre says that. So first of all, thanks, Andre. Andre says that love Bruno and Otavio here. We love you guys. Thanks a lot for receiving us so well. Thank you. So, but Andres asked, can you share some tips for testing JavaFX applications? I mean, testing desktop applications. A lot of times, we see on the testing industry, people think either desktop or web, that people think like, okay, so if I can test all the buttons on the application, I can, I'm testing everything on the background.
Yeah.
So people kind of stop doing unit tests, for example, or reduce unit tests and just kind of do everything interface testing. Is this the right approach, or
you probably want a good separation between your business logic and your UI. So you test your business logic on a simple JUnit level, and there are a couple of frameworks to help you test your like simple unit tests, similar unit tests for JavaFX, and I think one is called TestFX, and then there's a
TestFX.
TestFX is one of them, and I think there's a commercial testing toolkit. They were once Swing, and they support now JavaFX as well, where you can record how people click and use your UI.
Okay.
And then you can just play this back, and you can use this to do automated test runs.
Right.
And it's kind of like scripting. Maybe I remember the name later on.
Right. Yes, people are helping out with names here because Kevin says Frige Lang, I think for the thing you're talking before.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't see that he wrote before, but so helping out. So if you so
yeah.
Andre says TestFX, yes. So he puts the GitHub here for TestFX online. Yeah. So
nice.
So that's a good thing. And but usually when you do testing of the UI itself, either like a web UI or a desktop UI, the tests take a long time to execute, right? Because you kind of have to simulate people clicking, and not only that, any little change on the interface itself makes the test fail.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit painful, right?
Yeah, it is definitely.
Yeah.
So user interface testing is a pain.
Right. Okay. So basically, the thing that we've been telling people about testing in this case is, you should. That's what they call the pyramid of testing, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a whole lot of unity tests and functional tests. I mean, not functional. I mean, unit tests. A large amount of integration tests. But when it gets to the UI, right? The UI has to test the most important parts of it. Because if you try to test every single click, every single button, everything, it's flaky. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A little bit of network delay here, the test fails, and so developers kind of stop caring about it.
Yeah.
And a little change on the interface makes the test fails. So instead of kind of focusing lots and lots of tests like this, try to get most of your tests as unity tests or integration tests, and just on your UI, you try to do those really big, important tasks that actually make a difference, right?
Yeah. So my former project, we used this toolkit for driving the load tests, performance testing things,
Right.
And that was a good idea.
Okay. All right. Yes. So Andre says, what is the future for EFX?
Oh.
Okay. So all right. So
Okay.
this got me completely, but it's, I have no idea what EFX is. So start by saying what you know what EFX is.
I know what it is.
Okay. So well, actually, Andre says this. It's your JavaFX integration with NetBeans, right?
Yeah. So it was the crazy idea. If you could take all the good ideas from NetBeans and just replace the Swing UI with the JavaFX UI.
Oh, cool.
So what would happen if you take all the patterns and ideas that are make up the NetBeans platform, and I put the JavaFX layer on top of it? Well,
can you actually do this?
I started.
Okay, right.
I started, and there was a major refactoring in NetBeans to make a better split between the UI API and parts and the API parts that don't require UI, so the headless things. So Oracle can use the headless parts for cloud things. And so probably a project like EFX will benefit from that one. So might be interesting to pursue on that one. So there is a working prototype.
Okay. Because that would be an interesting thing, right? Because if you could do this, maybe it could be an even if you can't do the whole NetBeans, but by having this project, you can show a way for people that have today Swing applications into moving into JavaFX, right?
So there are different aspects to this. So one thing is you got NetBeans. NetBeans is a Swing application,
right?
So all the nice docking features and how you move windows around, all the things are Swing.
Right.
But nothing stops you from using JavaFX inside the Swing containers.
Right.
So there is a JavaFX Swing compatibility for the. It's like a Swing component that renders a JavaFX scene graph.
Okay. Right.
And this works pretty well.
Okay. So
a lot of people are doing this. So a guy in America, Sean Phillips, he's working for a company who's working for NASA. So
okay. Nice.
The space guys.
Right. The space guys.
And they are doing a lot of JavaFX. Visualization things, and they use NetBeans platform with the Swing container on the outside. So that works good for them.
All right.
And then there is Paul and Gail Anderson. They are running a training company. And they have a lot of. I think they even wrote a book how to use JavaFX inside NetBeans.
Okay.
So this is one approach how to combine those technologies. So I think mine was more radical. It was more like it's not evolutionary. It's just like get rid of all this old Swing stuff and replace it with new shiny JavaFX. So this takes way more effort. You have to come up with a docking framework in JavaFX. There is no real standard one at the moment, and so you have to put in all the bits and pieces. But I think you can take all the good ideas and make this work. And the good thing would be to plug in all the NetBeans modules and functionalities that don't require any UI and just work out of the box.
Right.
So this is the nice thing.
First step.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can reuse all the domain logic.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that you see on the interface, if you replace the whole interface with JavaFX, maybe you can rethink some of the things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe instead of having a docking API or a docking way of, maybe you could rethink how to do this. And
absolutely.
Like that, right?
So there's another project. It's called EFX Clips from Tom Schindler, and it's a part of the UI from Eclipse to JavaFX.
Oh, interesting.
So with I think it's the technology is called E4. There's a complete separation in some way between the back end and the presentation layer of Eclipse. So he rewrote all the widgets or components, whatever it's called there, using JavaFX instead of SWT. And this worked pretty well. So, but somehow it's still like the Eclipse application. So you can't have your own things. And that was what you had in mind. So if you start from scratch and you get rid of all the old thinking, you may come up with new UI interaction patterns probably. So that would be a good question for Andres. So what would you like to change in typical UIs and rich clients? So how does the flow change? Would you write a rich client application that feels like a single page application where you don't have millions of tabs open, but you just swap the content around? I don't know. what we can figure out probably. So
Yes. Okay.
it's still emerging.
It's okay. Yes. That it's nice that you still have like an open field that you can
Yes.
experiment with things, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Come up with
cool.
new ideas.
Right. So Abdenor says, does GWT has any future? Has any idea of that?
GWT.
Isn't this like the toolkit from?
This is like a Google Web Toolkit, like
Google Web
compiling
Toolkit, yeah.
Java to JavaScript stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
I
it.
don't
Right?
know.
That's the one, right?
Probably not my expertise.
Yeah, you're not doing any web development at all, right? Okay, yeah. So we're gonna ask. So Abdul, we're gonna ask this to some of the web guys as soon as we encounter some of them. I don't know. Andre says, "Oh my God, no! SPAs are bad."
Okay.
All right. So he didn't like that idea.
Okay, he didn't like that. Okay, that's good.
All right. Okay,
good.
that is a good feedback, right? Right away. I mean, when he said no, let's ask Andres what he thinks. You were thinking about having a discussion later on the email or something.
Yeah.
But okay, you got that covered.
Yeah, but maybe let's say so Anders is running a JSR.
Yes, he
did. For a kind of desktop unification API thing.
Yes.
And probably this would be one of the next steps to think about how does the interaction with a rich client application really work. So what are my idioms that are there? So like windows and components, things that you can move around, or what are the limitations to what to do? So everybody's looking at the IDEs as the rich client things where you can, but I don't know if every rich client application is like an IDE where you have trees of objects, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to come up with new idioms.
Right. Okay. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit here.
Yeah.
So there's just one. Andre said there's just one interesting SPA app back in the day, Iris. I don't remember that one. So Java 1 2006. So Wilson asked, what is your opinion regarding HTML5 versus JavaFX? Do you think HTML5 will displace JavaFX for each client apps, and also for the desktop?
Oh,
a lot of people are saying that HTML5 will solve all the desktop needs, right?
Yeah, because it's using JavaScript.
Because using JavaScript, right?
So for me, it's not HTML5 is not solving the problems. JavaScript is solving the problems.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So if you're talking, I'm writing an HTML5 application. No, you're writing JavaScript.
Right. You're writing
JavaScript. You're using the browser as the rendering engine.
Right. And really writing a large desktop application JavaScript is no fun.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, just believe you don't have any types. You just have I don't know, just thinking about things like left pad makes me shiver. Yeah. So no, we don't have functions as a service. So no, we write code. We have static things. We have got types. We do APIs. I think it's more to it like you just have to think, if you're starting a rich client application now, you probably want to maintain this application. So you ship it maybe in 2 years or 3 years, and then you maintain it for the next 10 to 15 years.
Oh, man.
So now get back to the question, do you want to do it in JavaScript? No.
Okay. All right.
If I can.
Okay, so
there might be things you would say, okay, if you've got customers and you got a lot of people you have to distribute the application to, you select a subset of your functionality and you provide a additional front end for those things.
Right.
But you will try to keep this as small and as simple as possible.
I see.
So you don't rewrite your web store every 6 months in our industry.
Yeah. Yeah, because the desktop application is really targeted for the power user, right?
Yeah.
So it's so you can have like some very, very nice web interfaces, web applications for your majority of users. But then when you have this really power user, that the guy that used that thing the whole day long, right? Desktop application makes more sense.
I think nobody would try to write a computer-aided design software in HTML5 in the browser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's more my kind of application.
So that particular interesting. You could actually maybe write a visualizer that some of your customers could take a look at the end results, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But of course, for the guy that's actually working on all the details, you need a more sophisticated.
Read access is way more easy to provide than write access.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So Andres, I want to switch. I was going to switch gears and talk about some specific thing that you mentioned. But we had this question from Will, so that I prefer to answer that one. But Andres comes back to the thing I want to talk about. You mentioned GSR 377,
Yes.
right? Because Andres is the spec lead of GSR 377 that is trying to get like a more common API for desktop and embedded, right? And to do applications this level. But I don't have. I'm not sure if you have any insight into that GSR specifically. But you've been part of the JCP, right? You're like a member of the JCP. You joined the JCP. No, you're not even a member of the JCP.
So the thing is, up to now, like last week,
right?
It was necessary that my employer signs the Exhibit B,
right?
And with a large corporation, this is always difficult,
right?
So it takes time to make this right. So
basically,
I signed my part,
right? Sign your part.
I was still waiting for the company doing the rest. The main thing. So now I heard that we got a new JCP 2.10.
Right.
I think
So basically, you are like a top expert in Java around the world, right? You're a Java champion, Duke Choice Award winner, everything, and you could not join the JCP. I mean, you are like a desktop specialist. There is a desktop JSR, and you could not join because the rules of the JCP didn't allow you to join because they just require
put content somewhere, but I couldn't join the JCP in an official way.
Right. So actually the good news is that on this tour, right, the first 2 days of this tour was the JCP meeting in Berlin, right, here in Germany. And on this tour, we finally got the whole plan on the finalized details on the new membership class of the JCP that has been announced this week, right? So the new membership class on JCP, it's a much easier way for you to join the JCP. It does not require any signature from your employer. It doesn't require any signature from your employer. Your employer does not have to sign anything. No JSPA. He doesn't have to give you approval. You might have other things that you need to get approval for because of the things you do, but the JCP doesn't require that your employee gives you any specific approval. So it's a little more restricted class of membership, right? It helps a lot to protect the IP flow inside the JCP. But I think every developer would love to these. There's no bureaucracy. You go to your webpage in the jcp.org website. There is an online form that you fill out and you sign it.
An online form.
Yes, you don't need to send papers anymore, right?
So zero.
Yes, exactly. So it's all been streamlined, very easy to join. And the good thing is, this next election that's going to be around Java 1 time, September, October time. Everyone that joins as this new membership, right? It will have you're going to be able to vote for 2 specific seats on the executive committee. That's only going to be for this new affiliate membership class, right?
Wow.
So yes,
that's awesome.
So that's going to be very easy. The other thing is, if you're a Java user group, because you also run a Java user group, right? So if you are a Java user group, so Andre say yay, yes. So basically, whoever joins as an affiliate will you'll be able to join JSRs. You're going to be able to join. You're going to be able to do a lot of things. You have your name on approve it. I mean, if you want to be an expert on a JSR, you're going to have your name on the JSR. All those kind of things, and it's going to be very easy for you to join. And if you're a user group, right? We do also have a new affiliates, not affiliate, right? A new class of membership for user groups, right? That's also, it's very, very simple for user groups, and will make user groups have a partnership for marketing on the JCP. So I think this is another good thing.
So we should take this for tonight for the JAG meeting.
Yes. So we're gonna start talking
this and try to get people engaged.
So let's
really
see.
Great. So.
Right. So if you're watching it, when you're watching us go to jcp.org right now, and there's a form there. Just fill out, submit, and you can be a JCP member really fast.
like a prize for the 1,000th affiliate member, or
Yes.
the million.
Oh man,
whatever.
you're asking the right questions right there, right? So basically, for
Get there, sign it.
a thousand for the 1,000 first ones. I don't remember exactly how many are, but whoever signs it right now, right? Let me scare people so they do it right now, right? So whoever signs first, right? I'm not sure how big is the first, right?
You're sure you don't try the US on the JSP side?
Right, no, don't worry. Just go right now. Whoever signs first gets a JCP T-shirt, right? So developers like T-shirts. I like T-shirts.
Like T-shirts,
yes.
like this one.
Like T-shirts. JCP T-shirts. So So go to jcp.org website, sign in your user group, sign in as a member, because that's going to be a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So any
Great.
more questions, guys? We have just hit 1 hour of broadcast, right? That's about the time that we try to close things down. One of the things that we've been asking everyone here is, if you think back in your career, right? If you think about something that happened in your career, there's something that you started to do that you didn't do before that completely changed your career, or like one suggestion that you'd give to everyone that's watching us that they could do, maybe from a past experience of something that you've seen other people do. What is like the one thing people should do to improve their developer career?
So I think the thing that changed life most, well, one of the NetBeans evangelists back then had a kind of contest.
Mm-hmm.
So if you create an open source plugin for NetBeans,
Mm-hmm.
you get a handcrafted shirt from James Gosling.
Okay.
So I had this
Handcraft from
fine
James Goss. So James Goss did the t-shirt himself?
No, he did.
signed it.
He did the
Oh, he
graphics.
did the graphics. Okay,
Graphics,
right.
so they did the graphics.
Okay,
And
that's pretty cool.
I had this plugin, this Findbox thing sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
and I never thought about open sourcing it. I used it for myself and
Right.
gave it to my colleagues so they could use it as
Mhm.
well. But I never thought about making a big fuss out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, so I sent him an email. And, said, yeah, sure, this qualifies. If you
Mhm.
open it, that's fine. So, and this is where all this started, and it ended
Right.
up with you sitting here next to me in
Yeah.
my garden.
Okay, so y'all started because you open source,
A
Findbox, a small
small
utility
that
piece
people
of
like.
code
Yes.
that you had.
Yeah.
And so basically by that was when you first joined the open source community in general, or you had some other contributions, but
I think that was the first major
The first
contribution. I was hanging out on a lot of mailing lists
Mhm.
and creating bar reports and stuff. But
Right.
I think that was the real start for me
Right,
being an active open source contributor.
okay, so I think this is one interesting thing, because open source gives us developers so much opportunity for learning, for meet other people,
Yeah.
for creating our live resume,
Yeah.
right? Because everything that you do kind of shows up on the internet and everything. So just by any participation on open source, right? It helps us improve our career a lot.
Absolutely. Do it. Be vocal. Join a local Java user group,
That's another option, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
and get in contact with people and improve on your career.
Okay.
That's the way.
And it's amazing that something that you thought was like little small,
Yes.
just open sourcing. Think about it. You're getting your utility that you have. You're open sourcing just because you won a prize, right?
A T-shirt.
A T-shirt.
Developed
from
with
James
T-shirt
Gosling.
operated.
Right. Yes, a T-shirt from James Gosling, right? So you want to do this, and because of that, it completely changed your life.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. It's so for you that's watching us, I think this is an amazing, good idea. Start getting involved, participate. A lot of you are already doing this, just by being here and talking, just be vocal, right? Oh, Max has a great question. Do you still have the T-shirt?
Sure.
You do?
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
We got to take a picture. Because since we're in his house, we can probably just go inside and get a T-shirt, right? So we're going to take a picture of that T-shirt.
Yeah, and we tweet.
And we're going to tweet a picture of that T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
So, follow Sven NB on Twitter, right, to see the T-shirt that he has.
Yeah,
And we're going to retweet it from Code4Life. conf, right? And so if you're interested in taking more responsibility for your career and actually taking an active role on your own life to make your career improve, so keep watching. We're gonna still do more interviews this week. So right now we're gonna go to the user group place,
Yes.
right? Over there we're gonna see Martin.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have another conversation with Martin. Actually, when we get to the user group place, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna grab Edson Yanaga, that's right here. Edson, come in the camera here, say hello. Just so say hello so everyone believes that you're here, right? Okay, so that's Edson Yanaga. Yes, he just showed up from Brazil yesterday, so he's a Java champion. So we're gonna get this afternoon Edson Yanaga and Martin, that he also runs the user group here, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna get those two guys, sit them together in a discussion, a little discussion panel, and talk more about Java and career and things like that. And we're gonna do like an extra webinar,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
If you can, you can watch it. If you can't, that's okay. We're gonna put the recordings available. And by the way, if you go to code4life.com, forget about the URL. If you go to code4.life, right? Code4.life, and you go there. There is a link. There's the links for all the past interviews that we did this week, right? So and we're gonna put everything there. Okay, Sven, thanks a lot for the interview. Thanks a lot for receiving us so well here in your house. Thanks a lot for the amazing barbecue. But for you, that's why you're here with us. Thanks all of you. Thanks Max, Wilson, Andres. Who else showed up? Like Abdinur, Kevin. Who else? So many people showed up today. Hendrik. All of you guys. Thanks a lot for being with us. This whole discussion here, the objective is having, these amazing guys talking directly to you. And thanks a lot for you to be here and asking questions. And I'll see you this afternoon directly from the Java group Bodensee.
Yeah.
Bodensee. Okay, Java group Bodensee. We're gonna see you in a few hours from now. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys, and I see you in the next webinar. Thanks for watching. Actually, more than thanks for watching. Thanks for participating, because this is a very nice. You guys are not watching. You guys are really being part of this.
Thanks for interacting.
Yes, if it wasn't for your questions, nothing like this would happen.
Yeah, we'll stop that after 50 minutes.
Yes, exactly. All right. So now, can we go ride some horses?
If you like. We'll figure out.
Okay, that might be a good thing to do. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.